Welcome to your 12-minute HR lesson. Today, let's talk about legal reform. Let's talk about laws. Let's talk about dinosaurs and how you can't build a system that keeps in dinosaurs, nor can you build a system that perfectly accounts for everything. Curious? Let's go. Let me give you my hot take up front. This new reform, it's changing the Holidays Act. It's changing how we account for, provide and pay sick leave, bereavement leave, holiday pay. Looking at the draft, I think it's really good. I think it makes a lot of sense. It makes things a lot simpler. But I'm not going to give you this is what you do. I'm going to answer the question that a lot of you will be thinking, which is, why didn't we do this in the first place? Why did it take us 20 years to come up with a better system? I'm going to tell you why systems don't always work, and what we can aim for is only a better system, not a perfect system. I know that you've watched the movie Jurassic Park. I know you've probably not thought about Jurassic Park in terms of the Holidays Act. But it's there. It's totally true. I'm going to point it out to you. Dinosaurs and relevant daily pay do not normally overlap, but they do. And let's find out how. So, let's talk about Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park started as a book written by Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton was a very intelligent, excellent writer who wrote a number of really thoughtful books. I think he wrote ER because he used to be an ER doctor, and that's how he branched it from medicine into fiction. The book talks a lot more about chaos theory, and the movie touches on it, but not quite enough. You may remember from the movie Jeff Goldblum's character trying to explain chaos theory. And if you want to YouTube that, it probably isn't a silly idea. Go away and look at how he explains it, because he'll probably explain it better than me. But essentially, the thesis of the book goes like this. Life is chaos. Life on planet Earth has a million different variables, all doing different things. And when you introduce a number of different variables, you get chaos. You get forces, you get movements that are unpredictable and unforeseeable, and you never know what's going to happen next because you've just got so many different variables that could all go a different way and interact with each other in a different way. I'm oversimplifying chaos theory here, but it essentially says it is impossible to predict and systematize. And that is the thesis of Jurassic Park. You cannot contain life within systems and structures because there's too many variables. There will always be something that finds itself outside of the strict rules and structures that you are putting in. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the Holidays Act. For the last 21 years, there's been this ongoing narrative that it's a mess, that it's problematic, and it's a disaster, and it's bad legislation. And those are partially true. The fact that there's been a remediation that needs to be done, a number of big organisations have had to go through and fix a lot of Holidays Act payments that they made. That's problematic. That does point that we have bad legislation. And I'm not going to sit here and defend the Holidays Act. What I am going to say is that we are in that space of Jurassic Park. We are in that problem of chaos theory. There are so many different variables that we are trying to systematize. And this is essentially what is happening. Your payroll system has to create rules. In X situation, do this. In this situation, do this. And these rules don't deal well with if Y then B, if X then C, if X and C then H. Can't do that very well, falls over quickly, and what you end up with is lots of gaps where the system cannot account for the huge variables that is modern workplaces. Modern workplaces are like dinosaur enclosures. There's lots of different things that we need to account for, and we can't, and we don't. And when we miss them, they fall through the gaps. What I'm going to avoid now is getting into the detail, because not everybody here is from New Zealand. Not everybody here is going to be interested in the technicalities and the specifics of how we are accruing for leave. And if you are from New Zealand, there's better experts than me that could explain this is what you need to do now, or this is what you need to do when this comes in. And you'll ask these experts, what do I do? Now what do we do? Just tell us what to do. And you're right to ask that question, and they are right to try and answer it for you. But this is what I want you to remember. It's not a perfect question, because they can't give you answers as to what to do in every situation, because life is complicated. Employment is complicated. You have casuals, you have variable pay, you have different hours, you have people who go away sick for a period of time. Not everybody is a 40-hour, 52-a-week employee, and everybody outside of that norm introduces complexity and different complexity, which creates chaos. We can come up with good rules to fix most of the chaos, but the answer to the question, what do I do, will be an imperfect answer. Laws try to tell us what to do. We want them to tell us what to do. The employees, the unions, want it all clear. No one is going, we would like ambiguity, we would like vagueness, we would like to be arguing as to what is due. Certainty benefits everyone. Complexity and uncertainty doesn't benefit anyone. Why did we ever have a legal system that didn't work, that wasn't clear, and no one was happy? It was a lose-lose situation. And the answer is chaos theory. The answer is Jurassic Park. The answer is you cannot come up with perfect rules that tell you what to do in every situation. But we can build better systems. We can get closer. I asked the question, why now and not then? Why could we not do this in 2010? Why couldn't we do this in 2003? There's been several cracks at this. Why did it take 20 years for us to come up with a better, simpler system? The only variable that I could see that's actually different is the technology. Back in 1981 with the original Holidays Act, people were working with pen and paper. To say you need to accrue for every hour that an employee works at 0.00 something to 4-6 decimal places, that's a bananas thing to ask someone to do on pen and paper. You go back to 2003, 2002 when they were drafting the Holidays Act, similar sort of question. You're not dealing with pen and paper per se, but you're dealing with spreadsheets. You're also not dealing with platforms. You've got microscopic levels of details that a payroll person could track, but they couldn't easily tell you. You'd have every employee and their dog saying, how much leave have I got? How much leave have I got? And constantly having to provide those live updates. Just wasn't possible with 2003 technology. But guess what? Now we can. Now that technology is there. I'm going to make one final prediction for the future. We are in the stage where they can put out the big picture, the broad, the overall, this is what this looks like. But guess what? Chaos theory is still there. Chaos will still happen somewhere. Experienced people such as myself, such as your payroll manager, such as your legal advisor, whoever will be looking at this going, yes, it looks really good at a big picture, but the devil is in the detail. And there's lots of little things that I can spot from just the press releases going, okay, that's going to be really complicated. How do we determine when leave can be taken? Because they've taken out that 1-year anniversary as a key point, that was an anchor in which we could say, well, before that, it's not entitlement, it's by mutual agreement that you take it. After that, the rules change about requiring leave to be given or leave to be taken. Without that waypoint, When do things change? And it'll probably be there. I'm not saying they'll miss clear and obvious things, but there's devils in the detail that we are all going to have to start to look for, which means this will not be a perfect system. It will not keep all the dinosaurs in, but hopefully it'll keep in the big ones and it'll stop the little ones escaping quite so often. This is what I want you to take away, because really I need to give you a takeaway on this one. It's all very interesting thinking about Jurassic Park and rules and systems, but when you find yourself in this situation, to think about things slightly differently. There's a very good chance you're going to have to look at this piece of law or another piece of law, and someone's going to be frustrated. It's not perfect. The system isn't perfect. Why couldn't they come up with a perfect system? And don't get drawn into that frustration, and remember, there's no such thing as a perfect system. There's no such thing as the perfect mousetrap. All we can hope for is better and simpler. Let me come back to Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. He walks into that movie, walks onto that island saying, this is not going to work. And the owner character says, but you haven't seen the system. And Jeff Goldblum says, I know it's not going to work. I know the system isn't good enough because it's impossible to be good enough. Chaos always wins. Chaos always finds a way. I'm doing the same thing as that Jeff Goldblum character here. I'm saying there will be gaps, there will be holes. Don't sweat it. Better is better than what we had before. The good news is no one needs to be eaten by a dinosaur when things don't work out. Who would have thought that thinking about how laws control our lives and how laws are trying to systematize the unsystematizable would be so interesting? Well, you be the judge of that as to whether or not this was interesting. Anyway, thank you for listening. Check us out at pragmatichrm.nz. You can look at our courses, you can look at our services. We can do things for you bespoke as and when, or we can come and join your team with our HR supported services. Have a look to see what we can do for you. Otherwise, share us, like us, repost us, all those types of things in which you can, through just clicking your button, pay in some small way for this. I'll catch you next time.